Welcome back to Parenting Pulse. Last time, we talked about spotting tantrum signs before they erupt and how to respond with calm, connection, and strategy. Now, something that often leaves parents scratching their heads is wondering why their kids act impulsively, like my 8-year-old throwing a fit over a lost toy. Today, we're tackling why self-control lags and how the brain's involved, with insights from Dr. Tovah Klein's Raising Resilience. What's the deal?
Let's dig into why kids' control skills lag.
Because of the prefrontal cortex, PFC?
Yes. It's like the CEO of the brain: planning, focus, impulse control, and it grows slowly. Studies show it's still under construction in teens and young adults.
Which explains why my middle schooler sometimes acts like a toddler. Now that I understand where my child is coming from, I feel like I'll be approaching those impulsive moments with more patience and empathy.
Exactly. And stress slows it down even more. Several researches as recent as Smith and Bullock in 2020 suggest that children exposed to chronic stress or adversity often show altered PFC development, e.g., weaker connectivity, structural changes, and struggles in decision-making and emotional regulation.
You got it. So routines help give the PFC practice?
Yes, consistent sleep, predictable schedules, healthy food, outdoor play. All of that supports brain growth.
So, it is about creating solid routines.
That makes me think of exercise. Does movement help the PFC too?
Great point. Physical activity boosts blood flow to the brain and actually strengthens connections in the prefrontal cortex. Even 20 minutes of outdoor play or a walk can improve attention and self-regulation.
So it's not about expecting kids to be mini adults, but about giving them the right practice.
Definitely. And patience is key. Their brains are wired to seek rewards fast. Delayed gratification, like waiting for dessert or saving allowance money, takes enormous brain effort.
Which explains the marshmallow test, right? Kids who could wait for 2 marshmallows instead of 1?
Yes! Walter Mischel's classic experiment. But what's often missed is this: the kids who waited weren't just more disciplined. They often had strategies: singing, turning around, distracting themselves. It shows adults can teach self-control tools, not just expect them.
Interesting. That feels hopeful. So instead of saying, "Why can't you just sit still?" we can coach them in little skills.
Exactly. For example, using timers for homework, role-playing scenarios, or practicing calming breaths. These strengthen the PFC until it matures more fully.
And what about us as parents? Sometimes I lose control faster than my kids.
You're not alone. The PFC is also affected by adult stress and sleep deprivation. Modeling calm responses shows kids what regulation looks like. Even narrating your process: "I'm frustrated, so I'm going to take 3 deep breaths before I respond," helps.
That's powerful. It normalizes that everyone has to practice self-control, not just kids.
Yes. Which is why normalizing delays in self-control is so important. A 7-year-old isn't bad for melting down. It's their brain still wiring up.
So the goal is less about punishment and more about guiding until the brain catches up.
Exactly. And those supports today become the strong wiring they'll rely on as adults.
So, what you are saying is that this week, we need to create one solid routine: bedtime, morning checklist, or screen time limit, and stick to it. Each repetition strengthens those brain circuits.
And maybe add one brain-boosting habit like family walks or a short mindfulness moment. Take a minute with your child to pause together. Breathe in slowly, notice how your bodies feel, and name one thing you each can see, hear, and feel. You can even share something you're both grateful for. It's a gentle way to reconnect and reset, no matter what kind of day you're having.
Perfect. Remember, you're not just managing behavior in the moment. You're helping grow the brain that manages behavior for a lifetime.
That explains a lot. Dr. Klein talks about helping kids thrive in uncertainty. Does she connect this to the PFC and self-control?
Not specifically, but she focuses on emotional regulation. which ties directly to the PFC. She says kids face triggers like hunger, tiredness, transitions, and frustration that overwhelm their developing brains. For example, she describes a kid upset about a playground conflict, frustration overload, and suggests a parent ask, "What happened?" to help them process, building those PFC circuits for self-control.
So, those triggers hunger, tiredness, transitions, frustration make self-control harder because the PFC isn't fully wired yet?
Spot on. Research backs this. Benton research from 2007 shows hunger spikes irritability. Sade research in 2007 also links tiredness to emotional meltdowns. Diamond, in her research findings in 2013, says transitions tax kids' cognitive flexibility, and other older findings also tie frustration to stress. Klein's rituals, like regular meals or bedtime routines, stabilize these triggers, giving the PFC practice in regulation. It's not about controlling kids, but helping their brains grow.
I love how Klein emphasizes regulation over control. It's such a shift from traditional discipline-based parenting. Her rituals, like those daily check-ins, feel so intentional. I'm curious how they compare to more fluid approaches, like jazz parenting.
Great question, and the perfect place to pause. That wraps up today's Parenting Pulse Check. Next time, we'll dive into how structure and spontaneity each shape resilience in their own way. Over the next several episodes, we'll also explore how research and caregiving approaches around the world differ, or surprisingly align, when it comes to these methods. From structured routines in Japan to emotion coaching in the US, we'll uncover how culture shapes resilience building in children. So, stick with us. Until then, thanks for tuning in. If you found this helpful, share it with others and help us grow a space filled with quick, science-backed parenting insights. And as always, happy parenting.